back again with the ATSF Railfan, and this time we are doing a tier list of BNSF locomotives. We are going to just get right into it. Okay, first off, you're the Santa Fe expert. What is this locomotive?
That one I think is a GP50.
Okay. I don't know a lot about the Jeep 50. It's a Santa Fe yellow bonnet. It's a Jeep. Good paint scheme. I feel embarrassed as the BNSF rail fan at this point because, I don't know what half of these are. I'd say with a solid middle ground of B tier since I have no clue what it is.
Yeah.
Where do you think?
Yeah, the radiator looks different from the GP60.
Oh, yeah, but they don't show the radiator in this picture.
I mean, then I break them in.
Yeah. Where do you think this goes?
S tier because it's Santa Fe.
Okay, we'll just slap it up in A tier as a middle ground then. Next up, the Jeep 60B S tier.
Yes.
It's self-explanatory.
Santa Fe exclusive.
Yeah, it's an iconic paint scheme. It went really good with the Jeep 60M or GP60M, depending on what you call it. It just looks good on an intermodal train, you know?
Yeah.
And then while we're talking about that, we're just going to skip to the Jeep 60M. We're going to slap that right in front because these two look amazing together.
Yes.
Amazing.
And they look even better with the Dash 8.
Yeah. Amazing intermodal train consist, these two.
Mm-hmm.
And especially great at derailing in Cajon.
Yeah.
Next up, we got a yard slug.
Scrap it.
Honestly, yeah, they're worthless. They literally just have traction motors, and they rely off of power from the engines with prime movers. It's just worthless because they can't use it for anything else, and they're replacing them with SD40-2.
That specific one was only in service for a few months.
Yeah. This one is another slug, I think, from what I can tell.
It's another genset.
Yeah. I'd say I'm gonna go with scrap it. From what I can tell, this is an ugly thing, you know. Actually, we're just gonna look this up, you know.
It's a genset.
Yeah. And then while we're at gensets, these things, we don't even have to scrap it, you know. They just caught on fire.
And those ones look better than the other ones, but they still look bad.
They caught fire.
Yeah.
You don't even have to scrap them. Just let them run for a month and they'll be gone.
Yeah.
Next up, we have... It's obviously an SD 1320.
It's some sort of rebuild. It's like an SD40 ACE.
Yeah.
Let me quickly look it up for you.
Yeah, I know it's an SD. I want to say SD40 something. SD40-2R maybe.
No, it's not SD40-2R 1320.
Yeah. What would that be?
13. I found pictures of it. It's okay. It says it's a PR30C.
Okay, so I have no clue what that is. PR30C. I say C tier, to be honest. This is probably a Progress Rail rebuild. I can see it's got the AC unit, or the AC for the traction motors right here. This is a Progress Rail rebuild. I'm assuming they went off of... Okay, Progress Rail does it a little bit like a GE in the sense where it's 3,000 horsepower. So it's going to be Progress Rail 3,000 horsepower, and it's a former SD something.
Yeah. And did you notice that the radiator is an SD70 Ace radiator?
You can't see the radiator on this one.
You can barely see it. Anyways, let's just get to the next one.
Next up, we have the Dash 9.
So, Dash 9.
Yeah. 4875 would be a Dash 9. We'll go this up in S tier, you know.
Yeah.
They're really good locomotives. They're reliable with the exception of their air conditioners, and as long as you don't mind flames, you know.
And not as high, though, as the GP60s.
Fine.
Yep.
Alright, next up, we have...
That's a Dash 7.
Yeah. We'll go with C tier. These weren't the best locomotive GE made. I don't like the fact that it's an H1, to be honest.
The only thing that I like about them is that they're the only locomotive type that ended up staying in Kodachrome into the BNSF era.
Yeah, I hate the fact that this is H1. That paint scheme looks terrible on these engines, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And then while we're on the topic of them looking terrible on those engines, we have the same thing, but it's a Dash 8. Slightly higher, because it looks slightly better. Like, they both look bad in that paint scheme.
The Dash 8's nose looks better.
Yeah, I put it slightly higher.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't like these as much as the Dash 8 40BWs. The wide cab Dash 8s, I changed the tier list in itself, but it was its own tier up here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, speaking of the Dash 8 40BW, we have the Dash 8 40BW.
S tier.
One of the best locomotives, and I get excited to see one of these. There's two of them still working in the cities. I have a video of those on YouTube. I also have a video of them working in La Crosse, the same exact ones that were in the cities. It's just, they're amazing. Their prime mover sounds good. They've got a good horn. I like their bell. It's just, there's nothing wrong with them.
Yeah, now there's one that's been restored.
Yeah. And we're back to the Dash 9.
Another Dash 9.
There's a couple Dash 9s.
Yeah.
We'll slap that right next to the first one. They're the same paint scheme, and they're both in the 4000 series.
Yep.
I bet you they both have the same horn, even. Most of the BNSF Dash 9s have the K3LAR2.
Yeah.
And then while we're at it, we'll go with another Dash 9. This is a former Santa Fe. We'll put that up here.
Sure.
Not gonna lie, this looks pretty good faded. I don't... yeah. This is the one of the ones working up in the cities, actually. I want to go see this before they, like, rebuild it or something, you know? Since it's BNSF.
I've seen 3 of them up in the cities.
Yeah. I've seen a bunch of these up in the cities. I want to see more of these.
Yeah. I want to see Santa Fe in general.
Yeah, I think this would have an RS3L on it. Can't really tell from this picture what it's got since the picture's blurry, but I'm going to assume that's what it's got.
Yeah.
Next up, we have a BNSF Jeep 2119.
It's the GP38-2.
Jeep 38 AC.
Yeah.
I don't know much about the Jeep 38 AC. The Jeep 38-2 is a pretty good locomotive, and it's used on a lot of locals and stuff. I'm assuming it's just as good as the Jeep 38, to be honest. I think this is an A tier.
C40-8.
Yeah. I really don't like this. I don't like the 6-axle -8s, to be honest. B tier.
Yeah.
They don't look as good, to be honest. They do not look as good as the B.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's just like the B40-8s Ws look a lot better than the C40-8 Ws.
Yeah, but they're still war bonnets.
Yeah, but it still looks like crap, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Alright, next up. AC 4400. That goes up with the -9. Oh my god, this stupid thing. I don't even have that software on my computer, but apparently I do. This will go up and they're less common than the -9. I'll put them up above the -9.
Yeah. Yeah, and like every single one of them are an H2 as well.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's your
ES44 AC.
I think that might be a DC, actually.
I think the 6300s are ACs. Hold up.
Yeah, I think they are too. Because my 71 is a DC.
Yeah, ES44 AC. The ES44 AC is a really common locomotive. To be honest, they're not scrap it because BNSF needs them, but like, I hate seeing them over and over and over and over and over again. It just gets tiring after a long, long time of seeing them.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing for the ES44 DC. I can tell this is a DC by the number.
Yeah.
That's how you know I'm way too invested.
Yeah.
You can't really tell what this is. I think it's got the C4 trucks, but you can't really tell.
I think the next one's a C4.
Yeah. Well, there's no other. We've already gone through the other two types of Tier 2 Gevos, so it's just like.
You see the radiator.
This is a BNSF exclusive. Well, this is a Tier 4. You can tell by the number. This is an ET44C4. These are slightly less common, but it's still a Gevo. BNSF exclusive, though, since it's a C4. So it's going to go up higher than the other Gevos, but, like, it's still a Gevo. Now, we got the SD60M. These look a lot better. These look a lot better in the Cascade Greens, but, like...
Yeah.
S tier. They're a really good locomotive.
Yeah.
I really wish they kept all of these in Cascades Green, because they look better in Cascades Green than they ever will in H4.
Yep.
But BNSF do BNSF things, I guess.
Have I ever showed you the duo of BN SD60Ms I've seen?
No, but I've seen my own duo, but I did not get it on camera.
I did.
SD75M.
I think S tier.
I think A tier.
Well, they're coming kind of more rare.
Yeah. If they were still in Santa Fe paint, they'd be S tier.
Yeah.
And with that, we also get the SD75i. I could very much have these reversed, but they're going right next to each other, so it won't matter.
Yeah.
SD70 Mac. Lower S tier, or upper A tier. These have been the king of coal since the 90s. They look really good in the executive scheme. They look decent in the H2 paint scheme. I prefer the executive paint scheme, though.
executive paint scheme will always be the GOAT.
Yeah. I wish BN lasted longer so they could have more engines in the executive paint scheme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But War Bonnet always looks better.
Yeah. Here is the SD9s.
Yeah.
B tier. They were workhorses of BNSF into the early 2000s. They were especially useful for Burlington Northern. BNSF replaced them. This number is a GEVO now. So, I'm assuming they replaced them after they ordered that series of GEVOs.
Yeah, the only one that I know that's still around is in the Lake Superior Railroad Museum.
Yeah. It's probably a good thing, too. These are approaching that age.
Yeah.
These were like one of the first things that EMD made for freight diesels, you know? Other than the Jeep 7s and 9s,
yeah.
SD7.
Yeah.
Good locomotive, though. There's stuff that looks better, and there's stuff that looks worse, you know?
Yeah.
Next up is the SD70M, or SD70... I call it the SD70 Mace, but it's the SD70 MACE, which is a rebuilt SD70 Mac to meet Tier 4 standards. I think. I could be very wrong about this.
Yeah.
But
I think you're right, though.
Yeah, I know that there's an SD70 MACE, and I'm assuming the E stands for emission standards.
Yeah.
These are actually very uncommon. These are a lot less common than the SD70 Max, but they're all in H3. And there's not enough of these to know how good they are reliability-wise. I'm assuming they're pretty good because the EMD SD70s are really good. But I'm just going to slap them in lower S tier, or lower A tier, I mean. And with that, we get the SD70 Ace.
Yes.
I would say they go up here just because of the horn. They stay down here. They stay down here because modern... yeah. First off, there's not a lot of them, which makes them cooler, I guess. It's just...
And they're also goated on full service.
Yeah. It's just like... they'll never be as good as any of these engines up here. It's just like...
no.
It's just like the GEVO, but EMD.
Yeah.
So it's just like... yeah. There's not a lot of them. But yeah, BNSF alone has 650.
Yeah.
Alright, next up we have BNSF. This is an old 6100. I actually don't know what this is.
Which one are you looking at again?
BNSF 6100.
Let me see the picture.
SD9.
Yeah. It's a standard cab SD9.
Yeah. This one looks worse than the regular SD9, but it's really close. I'd put this in C tier, honestly. The high noses look better.
Yeah. But to be honest, it does look weird to see a high nose BNSF.
I know. They retired both of these a long time ago.
Yeah.
Next up, SD40-2.
S.
These have been the workhorse of all railroads since the 1970s when they came out with them. It's easily EMD's best locomotive, and everything since it has regressed. I'd much rather see a Cascade Green SD40-2, but I get excited to see any SD40-2 in general, especially if it's running and the prime mover is on. You know?
Yeah.
Because they just sound good. They've got good horns. It's just like a really good locomotive overall.
Mm-hmm.
We're almost done. Alright, next up. I think this is another SD40-2 here. 1569.
Yeah. 15. Yeah, it's an SD40-2, I think.
SD40-2R.
Oh yeah, I forgot those existed.
Yeah. These are the same thing as SD40-2s, except I don't know what the difference between an SD40-2 and the SD40-2 are. I'm assuming they're relatively close. There's less SD40-2Rs. I know MRL's got a couple, or had a couple.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be cool to see one in MRL, not gonna lie. It'd be cool to see anything in MRL.
Yeah.
I'd say I've never seen an MRL engine. I have. It's just pitch black and you can't tell what it is. And that video is also on YouTube and on my YouTube channel if you guys want to check it out. Watch me suffer in silence.
I've gotten one in daylight before.
Yeah, I've caught a couple in daylight when I was out in Montana, now that I think about it. Next up,
SP40F.
I was thinking F45, but like, probably.
SDP40F.
Yeah, that's more Burlington Northern than the F45s.
Santa Fe did have the F45s, though.
Yeah, you know for a fact, based off of this number, 5265, what it is?
Yeah, I can also tell because of the nose, because the Santa Fe had a specific thing on the nose of the SDP40Fs.
Okay, I'll take your word for it and also take your rating of it. It cannot be an S tier because of, like, reasons.
Yeah.
Where would you put it?
A.
Reliability-wise?
B.
Okay. Next up, we got a Jeep. Ooh, I can tell by the...
Jeep 30.
This is a Jeep 39E.
Yeah.
I can tell by the radiator to the cab. I'm a complete Burlington Northern side of BNSF geek, and my dad would probably be very mad at me if I didn't know what the Jeep 39E was.
Yeah.
And if this is not a Jeep 39E, I'm going to cut this part of the video out. 22 or 2518. Jeep 39-3, so they upgraded it since then. It's a Jeep 39-3. But you can tell this was a former Jeep 39E because it's got the Jeep 30 radiator dynamic brake section, which is way too big for it.
Mm-hmm. Which I don't know why they did that. But...
I have no clue why Burlington Northern did that either, but they did, so...
Well,
honestly,
it wasn't just Burlington Northern.
I know.
There's many other brands.
Burlington Northern, I think, was the main company that did the Jeep 39Es, though.
Yeah, but there was also just the standard GP30.
Yeah. We're gonna slap that up with the SD40-2 SD60, you know? Up in there.
Yeah.
And last up, scrap it. I can tell by the nose and whatever the heck the car body is that it's gonna be scrapped. 1205, I guess. We'll look it up.
Hydrogen unit.
I already know it's a special unit for sure. Hydrogen test unit, yep.
It's actually in a museum.
Which means it didn't last very long.
Yeah. It was actually bought for CP, but then CP didn't want it.
Yeah. You know, we're gonna scrap the Jeep 60M, you know?
No.
Just to even it out, that way this only takes up one line. I wouldn't do that to you. I'd do that to your Jeep 60B.
Put one of the Dash 9s down there.
We gotta look up the difference between 4875 and 4089 and determine which one's going down into A tier.
Find out which one has a more fouled horn.
Yeah.
Oh, which numbers again?
4875.
Okay, how about you do 4875, I do the other one.
And 4089. Okay, I'll do 4875.
Okay. I already found a video of it leading, so.
XBNSF-9 turned NSC6M. NS4875 Falk. What? It was rebuilt into an NS. It was rebuilt into an NSC6M. Nuh-uh. We ain't tolerating that. Screw you, NS. That engine's getting scrapped.
4089 actually has a really good horn.
Yeah. We're scrapping the one that BNSF donated to be rebuilt.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you guys had to witness a BNSF-9 being wasted like that.
Yeah.
And that's all for today, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Go check out the ATSF Railfan. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. This was obviously a little bit longer than the last one, even though it had less engines, because me and the ATSF Railfan are geeks.